Oh. Monthly board meeting of the Shell Rock River Watershed District for July 9th, 2024 is now called to order. Leah, please call roll.
Manager Bakken.
Here.
Manager Hanson.
Aye.
Manager Pasuski.
Aye.
Manager Kramer.
Here.
Manager DeBoer.
Here.
Manager Lee.
Aye.
Manager Delger.
Here. Item 2 and 3 we are going to skip because we don't have a county administrator or anybody from the county to do the oath of office and election of officers, so we'll continue that in for next August. Do I need a motion or anything like that to make that clear?
Probably not a motion, it's a table, items 2 and 3.
Need a motion to table items 2 and 3
We'll make that motion, Mr. Chair.
by Manager Lee. Do I have a second? Second. By Manager DeBoer. Any discussion? Hearing none, Lee, please call roll.
Manager Bakken.
Aye.
Manager Hanson.
Aye.
Manager Pasuski.
Aye.
Manager Kramer.
Aye.
Manager DeBoer.
Aye.
Manager Lee.
Aye.
Manager Delger.
Aye, motion carried. Item number 4. Public forum. I do not see anybody here today from the public, so we will move on to item 5. Approval of the agenda. Are there any additions, corrections, or deletions?
Mr. Chair, at this point, staff does not have any motions or any agenda additions, corrections, or deletions.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve the agenda? So moved. And Manager DeBoer, do I have a second? Oh, that was Kramer. I'll second it. DeBoer seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, will you please call roll?
Manager Bakken.
Aye.
Manager Hanson.
Aye.
Manager Pasuski.
Aye.
Manager Kramer.
Aye.
Manager DeBoer.
Aye.
Manager Lee.
Aye.
Manager Delger.
Aye, motion carried. Item number 6, the consent agenda. The following items will be acted upon without discussion in accordance with the staff recommendation and associated documents unless a manager requests opportunity for discussion. A, the minutes of June 11th, 2024, Shell Rock River Watershed District regular board meeting. B, June 2024 treasurer's report subject to audit. C, June 2024 project fund treasurer's report subject to audit. D, authorized payment of claims. E, authorized payment of project fund disbursements. And F, quarterly transfer. Do I have a motion to approve? So moved. By Manager Kramer. Too quiet. Do I have a second?
Second.
By Manager Lee. Any discussion? Hearing none, please call roll.
Manager Bakken.
Aye.
Manager Hanson.
Aye.
Manager Pasuski.
Aye.
Manager Kramer.
Aye.
Manager DeBoer.
Aye.
Manager Lee.
Aye.
Manager Delger.
Aye, motion carried. Item number 7, project program manager Courtney Phillips.
Thank you. The first item I have is a motion to approve watershed-based implementation funding 2024 budget. So I'm going to be talking about this one in number B or letter B at the same time. When we received our first watershed-based implementation funding grant through Bowser last year, we had a set budget that we are the fiscal holders of. But we have other entities that are partners in this, and that includes the Freeborn SWCD, City of Albert Lea, and Freeborn County. At that time, when we received that grant agreement, we developed sub-agreements that allows those entities to expend funds from that grant that we are the fiscal holders of. That sub-agreement at that time was very detailed to only the first watershed-based implementation funding grant we received. And so now that we received a second watershed-based implementation funding grant, we realized that the sub-agreements were too detailed for the first one, that it did not give us the flexibility to allow those other entities to expend funds out of the second grant. So we had to come back to the drawing board and revisit the sub-agreements to be, allow them to carry forward or move on with each new grant agreement. But in the same token, being transparent, one thing that we wanted to do is we wanted all respective boards, so like the city council members, the SWCD managers, our board, as well as county commissioners to see the budget and where the funds are going. One of the caveats to having our sub-agreements move forward with each new grant agreement is that each entity has to approve the budget prior to receiving new grant funds. And so in your packet, you will see the budget that we have outlined for our 2.0 grant that we're calling our second watershed-based implementation grant. We received $547,409. And so what this budget does is allows us to see where these work plans or the funds are going for each work plan category. And the entity that is allowed to expend funds towards that. So think, for example, Freeborn County with septic upgrades for low income individuals, or Freeborn SWCD for cover crop contracts or well sealing contracts. So this budget clearly outlines who's allowed to spend and how much and for what. And so that's the kind of the caveat, is that we need to approve these budgets now prior to each grant funding. And our sub agreement will be able to run continuously with each new grant. Because we are envisioning receiving watershed based implementation funds roughly every 2 to 3 years.
Do I have a motion? So moved. By manager. Yes. Talk to me. Hanson. Manager, go ahead. Do I have a second? Second. Manager Kramer, any discussion? Hearing none, will you please call roll?
Manager Bakken?
Aye.
Manager Hanson?
Aye.
Manager Paczynski?
Aye.
Manager Kramer?
Aye.
Manager DeBoer?
Aye.
Manager Lee?
Aye.
Manager Melcher?
Aye, motion carried.
So the next item is a motion to approve the WBIF, or also kind of referred to as One Watershed, One Plan, sub-agreements with Freeborn County, City of Albert Lee, and Freeborn SWCD. So this is the document that was also included in your packet. It had the highlighted area where you would swap out the names of the entity that we are working with. One thing to note, this did go to David Walker. He had some small minor comments that we will probably be incorporating into a final version. But just essence of time, we need to get a version approved, so there might be some small minor revisions, nothing that's changing any of the major potatoes of the document.
With that, do I have a motion to approve? Manager Hanson, do I have a second? Second. Suski, any discussion? Hearing none, will you please call roll?
Manager Bakken?
Aye.
Manager Hanson? Manager Paczynski?
Aye.
Manager Kramer?
Aye.
Manager DeBoer?
Aye.
Manager Lee?
Aye.
Manager Delton?
Aye, motion carried.
Thank you. The next item is a motion to enter into quantum easement. As a result of our Panicum Prairie enhancement project that is taking place down in kind of the old grass lake stored bed, there is a neighbor who is going to be slightly impacted. And we worked with him to see if he would like an easement for basically compensation of us having a flowage easement on his property, or if we could fill his property so that the water is not an issue. His ground will now be higher. It's just a little area of horse pasture that needs to be kind of addressed. And so we are looking into entering into a temporary construction access easement so that we can get in and place a little bit of fill on his property as a result of that project.
With that, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Manager Lee, do I have a second? Second. Manager Kramer, any discussion? Where are we gonna get the fill for that area
From the organic materials that are on site.
on site?
Yeah, we're gonna be using all materials on site to develop the berms and place the fill. So then that also creates deeper areas within the wetland itself.
Also gonna put a berm to block the water, it's gonna be a driveway and road.
No, this is kind of a result of revision from that, because if we were to put a berm on the property line, then his water would not have area to drain. So it's more so we just need to fill his up so that it drains off into our wetland.
How many acres?
I don't have the acres of cubic yards. Actually, okay,
This property.
it's really small, it's like, yeah, it's really small. Less than half acre.
Any more discussion? Hearing none, will you please call roll?
Manager Bakken?
Aye.
Manager Hanson?
Aye.
Manager Besuski?
Aye.
Manager Kramer?
Aye.
Manager DeBoer?
Aye.
Manager Lee?
Aye.
Manager Belcher?
Aye, motion carried.
Thank you. Next item I have is project updates. Regarding the Panicum Prairie project, we're looking to put that out on Quest for bid this Friday and hopefully awarding a contractor at our August board meeting. Other updates, the in-lake, it's looking like Brennan is starting to remobilize this week. We're getting some emails that they're planning on coming in and getting the staging area ready. They're hoping to be placing materials by July 15th. So we'll be able to see those barges moving shortly. The access piece that is along Bridge Avenue, timber companies who was awarded the bid, they're having a little bit of issues sourcing their sheet piling. And it still needs to go in and get galvanized, so they were hoping to start sometime after the 4th, but they haven't mobilized yet. Still on their radar, they got time. Other projects that we have going on right now are the Bancroft wetland restoration. Larson Contracting started June 17th, and so far they have completed the swale. And they've done seeding prep work, and they have started to do some of the digging for the wetland restoration. All is moving forward.
Good.
So the only updates I have.
Shut the water off, will you?
Yeah, I wish I could.
How they
It was
coming,
like 15 inches ago.
how they coming on the CDF? That are- Okay, ask that question.
We got 25 since April 1st.
I was having one that, Jim's here, 36 James. Anything else for Courtney? We will go on to item number 8, Administrator Andy Hensel.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First item on the agenda is the SRRWD Watershed District Committee list. So right now I just want some general discussion with the managers. We go through and look at the committee list every year. For those managers who want to maybe get on one of the committees or get off one of the committees, we ask that you let me know. A lot of the times the exec committee is set by the manager votes. And again, we table that until next month. I know Ryan Rasmussen, the administrator from the county, is on vacation this month. He was gonna try to find a replacement, but he did not. So again, we'll be pushing the election of officers and the oath of office until August. As far as the oath of office, I just want to congratulate both Mike Hansen and Joe Pasuski for getting reelected to the board. That happened at the county board meeting on July 2nd. So we will then have them sworn in August, and then we'll be asking for you guys to elect a chair, vice chair, treasurer, and secretary. And then next month, we'll also be going through the committee lists to see if anybody wants to get on or off of those. That includes the dredge committee right now, which is Dan DeBoer, Al Bach, and Mick Delger. We got the personnel committee, which is Mike Hansen, Mick Delger, and Brad Kramer. We got the citizen advisory committee, Joe Pasuski sits on that. We got the rules committee, which Mike Hansen, Mike Lee, and Joe Pasuski. Now, some of these committees don't always meet. They kind of meet if we need some rule changes, for instance. The strategic plan and budgeting committee, which is Dan DeBoer, Brad Kramer, and Joe Pasuski. This one we will probably be meeting a few times this year, just because of discussions on sales tax, stuff like that. We have the One Watershed, One Plan Advisory Committee. This is kind of what Courtney was talking about with the WEBET funding, the One Watershed, One Plan. There is a preset advisory committee that sees and passes all the stuff that you guys see for each board. That includes the county commissioners, city council, managers for the SRRWD and SRRWD Watershed District Board. We have a fish management committee. That committee has not met for a while. We have a Pickle Lake subcommittee, again, which has not met for a while. Then we have the Upper Lakes Committee. again, which hasn't met for a while, but that'll probably be coming up here, in the next few years. Once we,
When will that come on?
next few years,
3
once,
years?
once we complete. Once we complete the Fall Lake project and get that permitted. The next portion will be the Upper Lee Lake. We have the communication committee, which is Dan and Laura McDelger. And the city and county liaison, which is Mike Lee and Nick. Then the county ditch committee, which is Mike Lee and Al Watkins. And I know Al wants to meet there. That one's been a little bit delayed with the flooding. And ditch inspectors being quite busy at this time. But I'm assuming that the group will also be meeting a couple times. Well, that's the committee list. If you see anything that you want to hop on or get off of, please let me and Nick know. We'll be reappointing positions on the committee list at the August meeting. Any questions on the committee list?
Just for a thought.
Yep.
So as I look through these, so you have the different committees. Like I'll give, let's say, like the strategic plan. So with 3 guys on it, is there one guy that's the chair of it that called the meeting? I always get a little confused with the different of who called the meeting or when it is a meeting call. There's somebody in charge of the meeting.
So there's not, unless it's the exec committee meeting, because then we actually have quorum, so we have to publish that meeting is gonna be held. Otherwise, if it's just a regular committee where there's less than quorum, usually I just bring the subject matter, and then there's discussion. There's no action taken at those committee meetings. The action that is taken is advice to the full board for those committee meetings, and then the full board would vote on whatever decisions that would come out of those meetings.
There again, I suppose you're on one of these committees and you want to have a meeting for some certain reason. That person can call for a meeting.
Correct, you could call me and say, hey, let's have a.
Anybody on the team just call the meeting. So I'm on a really late meeting, I can just call me.
You'd work it out for me, yeah.
Yeah, if you bring pizza.
Breakfast pizza or breakfast.
Not a regular, yeah,
On Dan's Lake.
yeah.
Yeah.
Any other questions on the committee list? Hearing none, I'll move on to the next update. The Minnesota Watershed held their summer tour last week up in the metro area. The 2 watershed districts that put on the summer tour were Capital Regions Watershed District and the Ramsey Washington Watershed Districts. Prior to that, the Minnesota administrators met and discussed quite a few things. A lot of discussion was coming up on the next legislative session. And then some of the bills and some of the resolutions that the board is looking at approving or trying to fight for in the next legislative session. So there was some good turnout there. Then we just had a general educational piece after that. And then on Wednesday, we went and toured all of the projects that the Cap Regions and Ramsey Washington watershed districts have implemented over the past few years. Those who attended were myself and Manager Bakken. Manager Bakken, do you have anything that you would like to discuss?
I just like to highlight a couple of them that we stopped at. It's called the Highland Bridge Project, and it's the old Ford site in St. Paul, I think.
Yep.
So it was 122 acres, and they've actually opened up the water. I think they said there was buried channels or culverts that control the water through the site, and then they opened it all up, put in walkways, rain gardens, There's condos, apartments, I don't know what they were condos on one side, the other side still developing yet and stuff, but according to the area there, they're gonna treat about 64 million gallons of water coming through the site now. And it flows to the Mississippi River, but it'd be nice, you know, something like the farmstead site could be used for something like this too or something. But we never talked about the cleanup of the site. I don't know if you remember anything about that, Andy, if there was any cleanup to do or.
There was some cleanup. I mean, it would be similar to what the city faces at the farmstead site where there is some contamination. I don't believe all the sites there as well have been cleaned up yet. But most of the priority areas where they wanted to construct the green spaces as well as construct condos, a lot of that was cleaned up. You know, there, again, this whole area that Al's talking about was actually bought by a developer, and he's the one, I shouldn't say he, that group is the one that's redeveloping this whole area. It's pretty impressive, some of the stuff they did. And yeah, what they did is they actually took over old stream channels that were basically filled in and then converted it back to a meandering stream channel. I thought the unique thing was there's actually bedrock in most of that area. They actually dug down to the existing bedrock to where it used to be. So I thought that was actually interesting.
And the other stop that I like is the Keller Golf Course, and they actually closed down for 2 years to do some renovation on the golf course, and they're reusing their water for irrigation and collecting their runoff and everything. So it's according to the tour, I think the watershed was $250,000 cost that was shared by the watershed in Ramsey County and the Board of Water Soil Resources. So it was interesting. Glad I went. Thank you.
Sounds interesting.
Yeah, I think one of the other interesting stops was, and I can never remember the name, the new soccer field that they built up there. Allianz Stadium. And the recapture of water that comes off the roof there. And then they reuse that for irrigation, even on the outside and on the inside grass. So I thought that was pretty neat, but the infrastructure they had to put in place for that was pretty incredible.
There was a lot of stormwater, let's say a lot, there were stops for stormwater where they take in parking lots and put in areas where they can collect the water, you know, they use to water the rain gardens or their keep their lots clean or whatever.
This big challenge with urban areas and just trying to figure out what to do with it. And it's not getting any easier.
And the cost.
Oh, yeah.
In an urban setting is much more than in a rural setting.
Yep. Most of the watershed districts that I shouldn't quote, this is old information because I used to do work up in the metro area at times, but a lot of the watershed districts had very detailed plans in place as to how they restore water, whether it be ponds or whatever, and they were regional in the watershed district, and they were available for use by developers per se, so that they're they kind of had an in-place system of water controls in place so that you could take advantage of the available capacity to hold back water if you were going to develop something. So they were both pro water quality as well as pro development for the economy.
Yeah, in the last note, that I'll stress a little bit, you know, it's funny because, I shouldn't say it's funny, but it's there's such a dramatic difference between watersheds in the rural area and then watershed districts within the metro area. So like the last few years, the biggest push for Minnesota watersheds was to increase the admin levy for the rural watershed districts. Because rural watershed districts were capped at that 250,000 for their admin. Metro watersheds don't have a cap on their admin budget. It's all based on valuations of their tax base. But where we also differ is in what we're trying to battle. One of the big pushes right now in the metro is chloride. And they're seeing a lot of impairments in their water bodies for chloride. So salts, so every time we salt the road, that salt washes off into there, whether it's stormwater ponds or small lakes or reservoirs. And that builds up over time. Chloride just doesn't go away. So one of the big pushes for up there for the legislative session here in 2024, 2025 is some chloride reduction stuff. So you'll be seeing some of that. Again, for the rural watershed districts, chloride is not our top priority. Our top priority usually is, drainage, working on storm water volume, and then holding that water on the land. Where up there, everything's pavement, asphalt, and it all runs to their lakes and streams. So I know the push for the metro is definitely some chloride reduction. And looking at alternative ways to salt and de-ice, whether it be parking lots or roads. So we'll be hearing quite a bit more about that. Groucher's heard a little bit about it as he sits on the board for Minnesota watersheds. But that'll be some of the priorities that we look at. And like I said, we're totally opposite rural watershed districts versus metro, but we try to work together to get the same things passed as the organization as a whole of Minnesota watersheds. So
I find it kind of interesting because like the DOT, when like we were at Como Lake, and the DOT or the city puts chloride on the roads and it costs $11.50 a pound to get it back out of the lake again. So wouldn't they try to find an alternative, maybe that costs something, Mike would probably know that too.
There's a lot of alternatives, but there's no cheap fix to it.
Yeah. Thank you.
The tonnage that they use up there is incredible. People won't put up with it, with the driving on any slippery roads up there at home. And here they're starting to get that way where they used to be years ago. If it was bad, I just stayed home. Well, that's not a reality anymore. So we don't use them near the volume. Plus, we have some vegetation that helps, but like Andy said, it doesn't go away. It's not something that just goes away. It's there.
all right, moving on to item C is the Fountain Lake Restoration Phase 3 update. I'm gonna give you a couple updates here. One, the clean out of the CDF. As you can imagine, with all the rain, that project has yet to start. We are working with the contractor and in talk with him weekly to get him moving. So I'm assuming we're having the kickoff meeting on the July 11th. So after that, hopefully the rain quits and he can start. He will start with dewatering, which will be a big part of the project. And then start moving into the clean out. This will extend his timeline, but we got some built-in time so that he can do that. Matter of fact, the built-in time is more during the winter, so freeze up hopefully helps him. As long as it's not a winter like this last winter where it barely froze. So work will be beginning there soon, again, dependent on rain. However, I still think we are will have it completed by the time hopefully we bid and put the dredge project or sign a contract to dredge, which again is dependent on permitting, which I'll talk about here in a little bit. But again, the plan is to bid this and have a dredge in the water in 2025. So that's still what we're working with. As far as the phase 3, the actual dredging, we submitted a permit back in May. We still have not received any comments, coordination from the DNR. We have been pretty much bi-monthly having talks with the DNR to try to push that permit ahead. I will say at this point, we are not very far along in the process. The DNR's comments, of course, the two main issues are a threatened species, which is the Blanding's turtle. Again, we had the same issue when we did phase 1 and phase 2. And it was what we had developed for a plan to avoid and mitigate Blanding's turtle. Looks like it's not gonna work this time, which seems a little odd to me. And one of the other main issues is Bancroft Bay. You know, we've extended the dredging in that area. Due to the simple fact is the whole reason that we started this project and really pushed for this project with water quality. If you look at all the studies the district has done, phosphorus is our biggest enemy, and the internal load of phosphorus in Fountain Lake is between 80 and 60%, depending on the year, which is a large amount of internal phosphorus. The only way to get rid of that phosphorus is to dredge it out and put it back up on land. So one of the things they're saying is Bancroft's a pristine habitat, and our argument is, no, it's on the Minnesota Impaired Waters List. How is it pristine habitat if it's on the Impaired Waters List? You know, we also have these plans that the Clean Water Council and Bowser has paid for us to do these studies to show where this phosphorus load is coming from. And Bancroft Bay is one of those areas. So again, if the DNR is concerned about water quality, water clarity, we need to remove this phosphorus laden sediment out of Bancroft Bay. So that's the stuff that we are working on right now with the engineers. I'm working on a fact sheet. We do have another meeting set up. I believe it's for the 17th with the DNR. Again, the DNR we're working with is our local and regional office, which is DeWong. So those are the individuals within the DNR that we're working on to try to receive this permit to dredge. Steph, am I missing anything? We do have a kind of a town hall meeting scheduled for July 25th. It's Thursday evening at 6:30. We'll be inviting pretty much anybody from the public, but really focusing on the landowners out in the Bancroft Bay area. We will also be inviting our state representatives. So Representative Bennett, Senator Dornick will be inviting them down as well to hear from the public. I would like a few board managers to also attend that meeting if you can. I think it's good for us to hear from the public, especially the people out there in the Bancroft Bay area that deal with that area on a daily basis. We are also lining up city councilmen. I will be inviting county commissioners to that meeting as well. So if you can make it, please do so. Kind of let us know, Leah. You know, probably if we get more than 4 of you that want to go, we'll have actually put out a public notice for it. So please let us know if you want to attend. And if we have more than 3, we'll put out a public notice so that we're not bringing any forum issues. What did you say that was? June 25th. It's a
July.
Wednesday, or July 25th. At 6:30 over the schedule. So it's a Thursday evening, 6:30. I'll be out at the Edgewater. Any other questions on, Mountain Lake Recreation Phase 3? All right, hearing none, I'll move to item D, which is a flood update. As most of you know, we've experienced some, pretty severe flooding, within the region. One of the things that we're trying to do is an assessment of all of our projects and all of our structures. And trying to get a damage estimate into, emergency management. To hopefully get any repairs, paid for. However, with the water being high still, it's hard to get out and inspect our stuff. Our stuff deals with water, so it's usually covered with water at this time, so. As we're seeing water levels start to go down, we'll be getting out to our project areas, doing some assessments and trying to get some estimated totals of damages. And we can get that into county and then also update you guys on what we're seeing out there as far as damage. Any questions on that? All right, Mr. Chair, that's all I have.
Okay, down to item number 9, managers items. Is there any managers with updates?
Sure. I attended the county board meeting on July 2nd and like I said, congratulations to Mike and Joe for being reappointed to the board. Sheriff got $100 put in for the K9 unit. And other than that, it was about, they talked about their policy or their policy for the I'll say marijuana, for their policy, how they're gonna do that. And we'll see what else they have. I was wondering on that. It's also on the 18th, I went to the board meeting and there wasn't a whole lot there that really affected us in any way. So, but I was there, so I went to them 2 meetings and that's about it.
Anyone else? To the next item, which I guess are schedule time meeting, is that something?
So that's something that's in the works. We probably will be scheduling a dredge committee meeting here in the next, I would say, next 3 weeks. And then I just talked about the Bancroft Bay neighborhood meeting, which will actually be opened up to everybody, but again, that's our focus group is the Bancroft Bay area.
Item number 10, our next meeting is August 13th. Adjourn. Unless there's other items. Oh, your body, do I have a second? Your answer. Yeah, please call roll.
Manager Bachman.
Aye.
Manager Hanson.
Aye.
Manager Bestuski.
Aye.
Manager Kramer.
Aye.
Manager DeBoer. Manager Lee.
All right.
Manager Delter.
We are adjourned.